I'm ClassicRagu. I'm a Xenoblade speedrunner. I started speedrunning in May of 2020, so I'm actually quite new to speedrunning, but I've been watching for a relatively long time. I pretty much only speedrun Xenoblade. I also speedrun some Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon games, as well as a game called QT that nobody knows about. So actually, what got me into bingos of all things was Pokemon bingos. I think it was Pokemon Crystal was the main focus I was watching, and I looked at it and I found it to be really enjoyable. It seemed like something kind of nice to do between speedruns. It's just kind of really nice that you can do on the side. I've been working on bingo stuff for the Xenoblade community for around a month now. I've also been helping out in some other communities, working on setting up some bingo stuff for them as well. So I wasn't actually the one who came up with the idea for Xenoblade to have a bingo. That was actually a user named Gren. He brought up the idea to either make a randomizer or a bingo for the game, and for me watching all of these bingos at the time, I kind of just thought, wow, that's actually a perfect idea, so I immediately jumped on it and started working on the bingo project for Future Connected. To explain what Future Connected kind of is compared to all the other Xenoblade games, it's significantly shorter than all the rest. So any percent in Future Connected is only 33 minutes long for the world record right now. And the next best Xenoblade category is Torna, the Golden Country, and that one is 2 hours and 14 minutes. So it's immediately a speedrun that's 4 times less than the next one up, which means the game is really short, which means you can do bingos in around an hour, instead of like a bigger Xenoblade game where it could take an entire day to get a single bingo. And there were actually some people who came up after Future Connected and kind of asked about maybe making bingos for other Xenoblade games, but it kind of got turned down because what we would have had to do is most likely have people create save files in around the middle of the game and then work off of that save file for all of the bingo stuff. So due to Future Connected's length, it kind of worked out really nicely compared to the other games in the series. Actually, there's another reason that I just remembered of too. Future Connected is a very open world compared to the other Xenoblade games. Basically, once you get past the 2-minute mark, around 75% of the world is open to you. So you can get into it really fast, and there's a lot of routing options very quickly in that game. The first step was, of course, making the goals themselves. And for that, I kind of had a list that I already knew about, because I actually play 100%, so I kind of already had a pretty good idea of what you could do for goals. After I had kind of my initial list, there weren't really enough tasks that we had to work with. So I opened it up to the rest of the community and kind of said, here's a spreadsheet, I need you guys to put in any goals that you can think of. And actually people were very responsive. I think I started out with something like 50 or 60 goals, and we got it up to 90, I think is the current number. We have like special things to track them as well, like approved and proposed and all that sort of stuff. So when a change is made, we can go in and see all the new stuff people have added and accept it, reject it, do anything we need to. But the second kind of difficult thing after that was definitely the balancing. So we're using a website called Bingo Sync to manage all of our bingo stuff, and that's a website that was created by a Discord user that goes by Saltor. And there's 2 formats that Bingo Sync takes for bingo cards. There's one that just randomly takes a massive list, so we could just hand it a bunch of tasks and it would create a bingo card. That's the easiest one, but that has no balancing. And then there's the other one, which is based off of the Speedrun Live version 5 bingo card generator. I think that's what it's called. And what you have to do for that one is you have to break it up into 25 different difficulty tiers. And then it will randomize it based off those difficulty tiers, so that you don't have like too many things that are insanely difficult. Like you might have a list of endgame quests and you only want one of them. And that difficulty system also has tags attached. So if you have a quest in a quest line and you don't want 2 quests in the same quest line in the same row or column, we can attach a tag to it. And those tasks can't appear next to another task with the same tag attached to it in the same row or column. So we ended up taking the 25 difficulty system. And the reason that was difficult is because then we had to take this massive list of tasks and assign a difficulty value to every single one of them between 1 and 25. So we actually ended up spending, I think, around a day or half a day kind of just going through and determining difficulties. That was another thing that I kind of opened up to the community, because it was pretty hard to do all the balancing on my own. But yeah, it was mostly kind of a big community thing. For my end, I set up all of the docs and all of the initial tasks and all that sort of stuff. But then from there, kind of just released it to the Xenoblade community and asked them for help. It kind of worked itself out from there. I've been trying to engage the community as much as possible, because there's a lot of times where I'll do some balancing stuff and I'll think, oh, this is perfect. And then someone else will say, oh, no, I don't agree with it. So we kind of talk through why maybe this task isn't good, or why this balancing that I'm doing isn't good. There's been a lot of feedback. I make sure every time that I make a change to talk to the community about it before I publish it. I'd say the biggest thing is game knowledge. The biggest problem with Future Connected is, for bingo, you'll have, let's say there's unique monsters in Xenoblade, and each one of them has a name. But like that sort of stuff, you need to know the names of all the unique monsters. You need to know all of the quest names. It's just knowing all of these little kind of details so that you can actually know, like when you see something on a bingo card, you know exactly what it means to begin with. Because when we started out doing bingo, since I'm the only 100% runner, I ended up actually just answering a lot of people's questions while doing bingo. So someone would ask, which UM is this? Or what quest is this? Who do I talk to for this quest? So I have to go through and answer a lot of that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's probably the biggest hurdle for getting into bingo in the first place for Xenoblade, especially since there's just so many quests and so many unique monsters and that sort of stuff in the game. Specifically from playing bingos, I've learned a lot about some places where I need to change routing. It introduces kind of a new mindset into routing stuff. So you might find out like, oh, these 3 quests that I thought were not very connected. Well, it turns out they're really connected, and you can see that by playing a bingo card where you have like 3 of them in a row. And you might say, okay, for my 100% routing, I need to change this. It kind of also applies to the all Pawn Specters runs as well. That's a little bit less, only because you only do Pawn Specters in it. But knowing which order is most optimal for doing those Pawn Specters and doing their quests, stuff like that, it just helps kind of build routes for bigger categories, for sure. At the moment, I'd say there isn't going to be much change to it. There's not too many people playing it at the moment, just I think as we have more people join the community, they'll think of more things that we can add and better balance it and that sort of stuff. And the more I play and the more others play and the more races we do, we'll definitely notice a lot of the things that need to be changed. So I think there's probably, at least right now, we could still make like 1 or 2 more revisions to it, for sure. I think it's just kind of a matter of playing more, seeing what needs to be balanced more, and all that sort of stuff. I'd say that the Xenoblade community is by far one of the most open communities that I've joined. Pretty much when I started in May, I felt like I was already part of the community. It's very close-knit, I'd say. There's quite a few runners, but it's kind of broken across so many categories that your voice will definitely be heard in all of the different channels. And people are always willing to do stuff like race. I mean, we have weekly races for any percent for Future Connected, and I know for sure I put out messages every now and then to race bingo and stuff, so it's definitely a community that's very open to newcomers, and I actually really, if you ever are interested in Xenoblade speedrunning, I mean, seriously, come to the server, people will help you. A lot of people are scared away from bingo still just due to the routing aspect, so honestly, if you want, play bingo against someone who knows how to play bingo. From pretty much everyone who plays bingo relatively actively for Xenoblade, we're all pretty much willing to answer any questions while playing, so I mean, even if it whatever costs us a win, I mean, that's fine if it helps you learn the game, and that's all that really matters. So don't be afraid of it. It's really, really fun, and once you get into it, you're just going to want to keep playing more. And as for the project that I have going on right now for other bingo stuff, there should be, hopefully here soon, a bingo card for Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town, which is a farming sim, so look forward to that. We've been working on the spreadsheet for that, and it's taking a little bit longer just due to the fact that there's less people in the community, but I think we should have that out hopefully in the next couple of weeks, so keep your eyes open for that.